Okay, thank you. Everybody that's here tonight and everybody that's watching virtually. At this time, we'll recall to order the meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for October 19th, 2021. Let the record reflect that all board members are present with the exception of Dr. Nick Pond. We're going to rise for the pledge, but I would ask that everybody remain standing for a moment of silence for Wayne Becker, Andrew Peroso, and Madeline Nickpon. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to make a few comments about the three individuals who have touched the lives of so many of us here in the Suffern Central School District. Wayne Becker. Wayne died suddenly and has left a void in the hearts of so many of his colleagues throughout this district. Mr. Becker's connection to Suffern Central spanned from his own experience as a student at Sloatsburg Elementary, Suffern Middle, and Suffern High School. He was a committed member of our custodial team, serving as a daytime custodian at RP Connor School, and most recently as a night supervisor at the high school for a total of over 9 years. Andy Peroso, also of Suffern High School, passed away last week. Andy spent all 13 years of his time in Suffern High School as the daytime custodian. Andy was that quiet, committed, and reliable custodian that everyone trusted to get the job done. His untimely passing has rocked the high school staff and custodial team throughout the district, and he will be sorely missed by all of those who knew him.
Thank you, Dr. Gunderson. I'm going to just speak for a moment about Maddie Nickpon. For those who don't know, Maddie was a junior in college and died suddenly on Sunday, which is why our colleague and our friend, Dr. Chris Nickpon, is not here tonight. This was his daughter. And for those of us on the board that were here a few years ago, will remember Maddie as the student liaison to the board. I knew Maddie from that before I even knew Chris. And as my wife Sarah said, Maddie was a force. You knew when she was around. She is what epitomized what I believe is a Suffern student athlete, and she will be greatly missed. And on behalf of the board and the district, my heart, and I'm sure all of our hearts, go out to Dr. Nick Pun and his family. And I know it's not an easy transition here to make, but it just seems appropriate that the next item on our agenda is the student report. So I'm sorry to put that pressure on you both, but it is very fitting, and thank you both for coming up here today.
I'm Michael Assad.
I'm Georgia Canty.
So this week, Suffern High School is having our Spirit Week. It's a nice opportunity to finally get back into the activities we know and love at school. We have our pep rally on Friday, which will be held outside. Thus, masks will not be mandated. And there's a football game on Friday. The cheerleaders will be having their senior game.
And just to go into some important dates that are coming up, we have the ACT exam on Saturday, October 23rd coming up. On Tuesday, October 26th, it's financial night at the high school, which informs parents and students about the financial aid options as they're going into college and throughout the college admissions process. And then we have on Thursday, October 28th, the Rotary and Interact Club will be hosting a spaghetti night at 5 p.m. at the high school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay. 1.09 is the minutes of the regular meeting of October 5th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Donnelly, second.
Second.
Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? 1.10, Superintendent Comments.
Thank you very much. To kick off the superintendent's comments, I'm going to pass it along to Dr. Lisa Castaldo, who is going to provide us with a brief overview of a really phenomenal program that took place last week. Some of you were in attendance there. It was nice to see some board members there. A program called Feelings Matter for Families. And Dr. Castaldo is going to go ahead and give us a brief overview of what took place. So, Dr. Castaldo?
Sure. So you may have seen when you came in, or if you're watching the feed, I believe it was on the feed, the slideshow of pictures from the Feelings Matter for Families presentation. It was our Yale EI presentation for families. The planning for this in earnest started in August and September, completely done virtually. A team of about 25 faculty, teachers, clinical staff, and administrators, as well as myself, planned this night for families virtually in order to show families how they could use Yale EI and the ruler tools to help them in their family. So we had a great night. We had different rooms for each of the ruler tools, which is mood meter, the charter, the meta moment, and the blueprint. And we even had a childcare room in the gym that I think was more fun than what we had done with the families. I think the kids enjoyed it more than the families did. In that room, we also had 9 high school staff that came and volunteered for the night from Shauna Strenfeld's childcare class, the preschool class. So that was great as well. And we are thinking that we'd like to continue this with a program again in the spring. So get set for that. It's coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castaldo. It really was a great evening, and thank you for your efforts in coordinating it to make it a success. Second person I'm going to pass along the comment section to is Mrs. Lee Weber. She's going to talk a little bit about the proposal for an after-school program that may be coming up.
So with the availability of the federal pandemic relief funds, we are able to offer an after-school program this year that is in the late planning stages. We're looking, right now we have an opportunity for the staff to indicate their ability and interest in working in the program. Next, we'll be sending it out to the parents to give them the opportunity to sign students up. The program will vary based on availability, likely 4 days a week at the middle school and the high school, 2 days a week at each elementary school. So we're really excited to be able to offer that opportunity. We'll have more information at the November 2nd board meeting with the hope that we can kick it off before Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Another great opportunity to have our kids engaged, not just during the school day, but after school as well. So thank you so much for your efforts. I'll take over the comments right now and address the topic that I believe many of you are here to share your thoughts on. And I'd like to update the board as well. I've been engaged with lawmakers, administrators, and parents regarding the implications of the national bus driver shortage on the Suffern Central School District. We continue to work closely with Chestnut Ridge Transportation in an effort to ensure that students are picked up and delivered to and from school in a timely manner. I am pleased to report the following. 5 additional drivers have been assigned routes with several more drivers expected to be approved in the coming weeks. Routes have been adjusted to minimize delays, and applicable changes have been shared with each of the schools impacted by these improvements. I would like to address the suggestions that Suffern Central pay non-public schools to transport their own students to school is not possible at this time, as we are bound to honor our existing contract with Chestnut Ridge Transportation. Of course, that being said, the frustration by public and private school parents is certainly real. Suffern Central is frustrated, along with both our public school parents and non-public school parents. Please note that this administration will continue to explore all options as we look to ensure that all students are able to attend school and come home from school in a timely fashion. On a different note, the Board of Education is expected to consider a contract this evening that will allow our district to administer COVID testing for all employees. Those employees who are able to show proof of vaccination status have had the option of not being tested. If the resolution passes, testing for staff members is expected to begin next week. I've shared with the Board of Education and now the public that the Suffern Central School District has been accepted as a member into Digital Promises League of Innovative Schools. This organization comprises of 125 districts from across the nation who design, validate, and scale effective, innovative learning opportunities to advance innovation in the educational sector throughout the nation. The organization brings together superintendents, researchers, entrepreneurs, and developers to improve learning with the power of technology. I will have the pleasure of attending the League of Innovative Schools program this week in Washington, D.C., and look forward to sharing my experiences and learnings with the Board of Education at a future meeting. And finally, something exciting, something that is well-deserved here for the board. This is the Board of Education Recognition Week in the state of New York. I'd like to thank each of our Board of Education members for their ongoing commitment and service to our district and our community. I would like to remind the members of the public that these are volunteer positions. As a board member, you don't receive pay, perhaps you deserve it, but you don't receive pay or any other form of compensation. Instead, you commit a tremendous amount of time, effort, and energy to ensuring that the Suffern Central School District offers an exceptional educational program for the students it serves. Your work does not go unnoticed and is greatly appreciated by not just those of us around this room, but throughout the entire district. So thank you for all that you do for our students. Thus concludes my superintendent comments for Tuesday, October 19th, 2021.
Oh, I will say thank you. It's a shame with these masks you can't see that I'm like half laughing and smiling as you're talking about the, being unpaid and all the work that we do. Listen, I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody. It can be a thankless job up here sometimes, but I know we're all here for the right reasons. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I just a quick question regarding the League of Innovative Schools. Just so people, if they want to learn more, is there like a website that the public can go to just to kind of get more information?
Absolutely. You can do a quick Google search for the League of Innovative Schools. Sounds like a bunch of superheroes, but we're not. It's a group of educators throughout the United States. If you Google the League of Innovative Schools, that'll be the first link that pops up.
All right, great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Okay, 1.11, public participation. This is public participation on action items only. So there will be another public participation session later in the meeting, but this one in particular is only for action items. So anybody that wishes to speak on action items, please step up to the podium and just announce your name and affiliation with the district. Okay, nobody for this session. Okay, all right. We'll close this portion of the meeting, and we'll go to action items. So tonight, these are going to be action items 2.01 through 2.18. So I would call for a consent agenda, or is there any item that somebody wishes to pull at this time?
I want to pull 2.08, please.
2.08. Okay.
If I could I pull 2.06?
2.06. Okay. Any others? No? Okay. All right. So then we'll call a consent agenda for 2.01 through 2.05, 2.07, 2.09 through 2.18. Do I have a motion for this consent agenda? Mrs. Hodge. Second?
Second.
Ms. Dickman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. 2.06. This is a resolution, the appeal in the matter of the application of the Board of Education of the Suffern Central School District versus Richard Berger. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. Shapiro. Second?
Second.
Mr. Frazier? Discussion? Any discussion?
Thank you. I would just like to call to the board's attention that we've appealed this case unsuccessfully on 2 different occasions. The amount of money that has been spent on this it has been well over $100,000. I think it's time that we just move forward and accept the court's decision and move forward with our plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Are there any other comments? Okay. So for 2.06, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Nay. Nay.
Mr. Donnelly. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. The resolution passes. 2.08, this is a release and settlement agreement. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Donnelly, second.
Second.
Mr. Shapiro. Any discussion on this item? Any discussion? No? Okay. 2.08, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Ms. Hodge abstains. Okay, thank you. Motion passes. That will conclude our action items for the evening. 6.01, board member comments.
I have comment.
Ms. Hodge?
I want to acknowledge 2 Suffern High School students, Maria Duraco and Maddie Damiani. I'm super proud of these 2 students. They went to task and put forth efforts to reschedule their homecoming dance. They took the time to distribute a petition. They created a very focused and very detailed email, and they were super passionate about it. Came up with a plan and some ideas for the administration to adhere to their hopes. This is the conviction and the tenacity that we look for in our students at Suffern Central, and it makes me really proud to see that they came to the table and initiated this opportunity. I'm sorry they didn't get what they wanted, but I am super proud of them for their efforts and for their trying to do it.
All right, great, thank you. Mr. Frazier?
Yes, I would just like to say that I was one of the board members along with Ms. Hodge that attended the LEI gathering the other night at Suffern Middle School. Very impressed by the presentations that were presented. The staff, the teachers, the clinicians were all very professional. I learned a lot, although I don't have any kids of my own. It does teach you life skills, I think, and coping is very well presented. Also on, that was on Thursday night, but on Wednesday, I had the opportunity to attend a Halloween painting contest at Sloatsburg Elementary School, where students came together with their parents and really painted some nice posters that are going to be that were judged on Thursday morning by Dr. Gunderson, Angela Corbo, and John Palmer. The winners have not been named as of yet, but it was great to see all these kids come out and get together. And these posters will be presented in our local businesses in Sloatsburg after the winner has been named. I would also like to say, as I entered both the schools, shout out to the security team as well as the custodial staff. The schools are in great shape as it pertains to security, as well as being clean. The bathrooms, I always have to visit the bathroom for some reason, but I went in and the bathrooms are immaculate. So kudos to everyone who puts forth the efforts every day to keep our schools clean and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Any other board member comments? Okay. All right. Moving on then, 7.01, public participation. This is public participation for any district-related business. This will be a 3-minute per speaker. Please refrain from using the names of any district staff, personnel, or students. And just so that the speakers are aware, it's a 3-minute session. I'll hold up 2, so when you're at 2:30, just so you know where you are with time, so that I don't interrupt you. And then a 3 when you're at 3, though. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. I had prepared some remarks, but I now choose to talk from my heart and my brain. As I walked into here, I was greeted by...
I'm sorry, just please state your name. I'm sorry.
My name is Frank Daly.
Thank you.
And I'm the former chief of police of the village of Sloatsburg. And Suffern High School, and when I was chief of Sloatsburg, entered into a partnership where we worked very diligently to assist teenagers getting through those tough teenage years. I had an arrangement with Dr. Woodbury where he would monitor things going on in school and let me know what was going on in school, and I did the same in our community. As a matter of fact, as members of your board, 2 members of a Rotary that I've been a member of since the early 1980s, the Ramapo Valley Rotary Club, which meets at Rhodes, and 2 members of your board are members of my club. Our motto is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And invariably, what I've been able to see from Suffern School, all 6 of my children are graduates of the Suffern school system, and they're all very positive people with families from Riverdale and Manhattan to Singapore. And all of them are productive college graduates. My oldest son graduated as a captain in the New York City Police Department. I served over 47 years as a police officer in different municipalities, period of time being the chief of police of Sloatsburg. I'm a retired New York City detective. I walked in, I saw Mrs. Weber and Lisa Castaldo. When I'm involved, back in 2017, I became blind as a result of a stroke. Lisa Castaldo came over to the blind camp and was instrumental in getting people from the blind camp. I'm also a member of the Lions, and I'm active in Visions. And really what I'm here to say is that all the activities that I've been involved with, whether it be the Lions, the Rotary, are movements to do good and to share love. What I'm concerned about, and I love the village of Sloatsburg, I consider myself a resident, although I now moved to Suffern and I'm no longer a resident. But my children all hold Suffern and the education they received, the foundation they built upon, as a sterling opportunity to be productive people. But I'm very much concerned about what's happening in our nation regarding, a critical race theory. When I was a New York City policeman, I had police officers of every nationality, every race, every gender. And there is criticism that police deserve. But by and large, they become police officers, like Tom Donnie would attest, to protect and serve. His basis is working with me as a part-timer, dealing with young people in Salisbury. ultimately, when he became a full-time officer in Ramapo, he motivated and moved towards helping children. And ultimately, he spent a number of his years in Ramapo working at Suffern High School. I can only tell you that what I'm trying to say in as admirable manner as I can, that what we're talking about is critical race theory, and basically sex education should be left to parents. The bottom line about discussing sex of young children in a social studies class or whatever, in my opinion, is damaging. Let the parents take care of their children's sex education. The whole Judeo-Christian concept is to leave religion to families and leave education, reading, writing, and arithmetic to be very simple. I have nothing but positive praise for what my children learned at Suffern School. I'm very much alarmed today as to what future my grandchildren, I have 16 grandchildren, and I'm very much concerned about what kind of education are they going to be able to achieve at their various schools. Suffern has earned the respect and the admiration of everyone that I know that's ever graduated from Suffern High School. I've never had something negative. One of the Suffern graduates is now the supervisor of Chester, and he's a graduate of Suffern High School, and he's my son-in-law. And bottom line is we have nothing but praise. I'm a proud police officer. Several of you men are police officers. And I don't know if I saw the 2-minute warning yet, but okay, basically I'll conclude with, I love what happens in Suffern, Suffern Central School District. I'm here to be a positive, praise of that, but please be advised, as you consider what's happening with critical race theory, that we want to teach love and unity, not separation and hate. And that's my theory. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your time. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Bela Wertzberger. I'm a parent that sends children here to the school district. I just want to let you know there are parents standing outside that security did not allow inside because we said we're full to capacity. So I think that's important to know. As far as I know, when I walked through the door, there were 13 people waiting to come in. So since they're not here and they can't speak because they can't come in, I want to let it know that I got an email today saying that I'm going to get a temporary fix. And I'm going to get, for the first time this year, timely transportation that's temporary. That's not good enough for us. As the superintendent said, we can't break the contract with Chestnut. Well, a contract is if both sides can keep it. Chestnut is not delivering. So I think we need to take that into account. My daughter's bus shows up to my house at 9:43 every morning. That's not acceptable. And I have to find alternate transportation for her every single day. In addition, Fridays, they waited 2 hours for the bus to show up with no notice whatsoever. And I don't know, but that's not going to work. So we need to come up and take this back to the table and come up with a better solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Judah Hershkowitz. It's been 45 days, hundreds of emails and hundreds of robotic responses from you guys, multiple meetings, a lot of speeches, and my kids still don't have the bus. I heard earlier you have a program, says family feelings for matters for families. Private school parents also have a heart. So we need school buses for the kids. Today in the meeting, on the emails response, he wrote, it's a complex operation to provide buses. In the same email, you have your same answer. You say, we do not offer vouchers, parents, contracts, or high school specific private companies. And you're saying that you can't break a contract with Chestnut Ridge. As a business owner, if I buy something, the company doesn't deliver, that's a breach of contract. So it's either some of you guys are incompetent, or, we got to see what to do here. There is the East Ramapo has 20,000 kids, and private schools, nobody has an issue, zero problems. Obviously, giving the private schools ownership of the buses is the way to go. And you guys rejected it once, and I don't know why. Things that come to mind, and I spoke to a lot of parents, it's either some kickbacks going on here, or you just don't care about us. And you're saying that the budget doesn't fit into to giving it to private schools. You want to have your own profits. You guys did 170 projects this summer. You did summer enrichment programs, challenger courses, art classes. Are those more important than my buses for my kids? We're also parents. You did parking lots, you paintings, building sidewalks. We just need a bus for our children. That's all we're asking for, a bus for our kids. And I don't see why you can't give it to the private schools to take care of it. Just one more thing that I want to mention here. Look what happened between Muncie, Chestnut Ridge, Earmont, Montebello. When you mess with parents, the complex will be a lot bigger. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Hi, my name is Bracha Goldberger. Once again, I'm standing here at this podium. I stood here 2 weeks ago, and there hasn't been much change. If this was a class being given in a college environment, this would have been graded an F, in my opinion. We have had no updates in the last 2 weeks. No emails were returned. We have had no communication with the district. Referring to bus number 26, the first week of school, they had a driver. That driver started her route on time. That means 8 o'clock. These children got to school between 10 and 10:30 every single day. That week was the last week we have transportation. Since after the holidays, October 1st, we have not had a bus in the morning. There has been no route. At the last meeting, you mentioned that there was a rotation system for busing. What does that mean to you? What does rotation mean? Because we haven't seen any of that. On October 12th, there was a 1-hour delay. The kids all sat in school. Nobody was notified. Who's paying for that staff member? Did you offer them money? They have no permanent afternoon driver. There's constantly new drivers. They have no idea what the routes are. My daughter's 11 years old. She's guiding the driver each and every day on how to get from stop to stop. Is that called a competent worker? Her bus pass says that she should be getting home at 4:30 daily. She hasn't walked in the house before 4:50 every single day. We haven't, for bus 25, my son's bus, we had a week and a half after the holidays with no busing in the morning. He started busing last week, Wednesday. Since then, he's had a sub. There was no permanent driver for that bus. On October 12th, same day as my daughter, the bus never showed up to pick these children up. They sat in school with no one to take them home. The school provided a bus. Again, who's paying for that? Not the district. He's 8 years old. He walked in the door at 7:10 p.m. Again, no permanent driver for the morning, no permanent driver for the afternoon. His bus pass says he should be coming home at 6:30. The route that he's on has a lot of kids that are missing daily because they go home earlier. He's been walking in any time between 6:05 and 6:30. The boys on the bus, again, are guiding the driver as to which stop to go to first. Who's in charge of the bus? Who's taking care of this driver? Who's on top of him? The school has been getting daily notifications at 5:20. The office closes at 4. How are we supposed to get that information that there's no bus for the next morning? As a matter of fact, I called the district to find out who are they sending this information to. I spoke to Deborah. She has no idea. She couldn't give me an email address. After 3 days of going back and forth, I gave her the school's email addresses. I spoke to the school yesterday. They told me that as of Thursday, that's how long it took for the district to get back to them. They sent them the contact information for the email address and an emergency contact with Mrs. Schwartz. When we called the district today to find out who the information is for, they told us they contacted Michael yesterday to let us know that there would be no busing today. Who's Michael? I have no idea. Mrs. Schwartz was on that contact information. Maybe there's some way that the same way that we have information given to us on a snow day, we get phone calls, emails, texts. Why aren't we being notified directly about the busing? We have no idea if we're having busing in the morning. We go to sleep at night not knowing if we have busing. My children wake up in the morning and they ask me, am I going to have a bus for the way home? We need to have contact about this. There has to be responsibility, updates, and action taken on all these items. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I sat outside. I listened to the other items on the agenda. I had to watch it from outside. I wasn't let in. Apparently, there's some sort of social distancing going on that side of the room. I listened to the other items of the agenda. I got increasingly frustrated at the massive discrepancies between some schools in the district and others. While some school students are lucky enough to have Disney clubs with goals and activities such as coloring for a cause and getting in touch with their inner kid, other school students need to literally cry before someone will pay attention to the fact that they are being denied the basic school services such as busing. What is our school board doing about the fact that some schools, and it is interesting to note just which schools those are, still do not have more than a month after school has begun, excuse me, reliable transportation to and from school. The last school board meeting took place here 2 weeks ago. Many emails have been written and phone calls made to various relevant parties before that meeting re the busing situation. At that meeting, however, nobody could have left without being acutely aware of the dire busing situation the private schools in the Suffern Central School District are facing. Since that meeting, there have been 9 days when district buses should have been provided to pick up our daughters at their appointed time. Since that meeting, there have been 9 days when buses did not show up to pick up our daughters in a timely manner in order to get them to school on time. This has caused a loss of nearly 14 hours of school for each student on that bus. I have 2 daughters on that bus. I have 2 neighbors right across the street from me on that bus, and about 24 different children living in my neighborhood on that bus. Each one of those children lost 14 hours of school time. This has caused a class disruption in each of those students' classes on each of those days. This has caused the many dedicated and hardworking teachers in those classrooms to further waste student time in an attempt to get those students up to speed. Our students, the ones on the buses and the ones not on the buses, are suffering. They are losing their precious learning time. What is this board doing about it? You can listen to the horror stories of children being left in school waiting in vain for a bus that never shows up. 2 such stories. On Friday, the 8th, on Friday, the 8th of October, the girls were left in school on the 236 Cherry Lane Girls School. The bus simply never showed up. Many phone calls as to where that bus is were met first with slightly veiled annoyance and then with outright hostility. No bus. A bunch of 5 to 7-year-olds waiting in school. Horror story. On the Friday, on Tuesday, the 12th, the boys' school, 5 to 7-year-olds, no bus, nobody comes to pick them up. Listening to these horror stories fill the hearts of any mother with dread. Witnessing the response of those responsible for the safe busing of our children, their alarmingly calm attitude in the face of such stories is more dreadful still. What sort of calamity needs to actually occur before our school board will face this issue head on? I am sad to say that this school board has taken an issue that was in a large part caused by a labor shortage, perhaps a mismanagement of resources, and turned it into a real dividing line between our public schools and our private schools. The issue has really highlighted the unfairness rampant in our school district, made certain parents, certain students, certain portions of our school district feel like distinct outsiders and second-class citizens. Every student in the district is eligible for transportation to and from school. None of these students have more of a right to it than any other students. I am sad, I am hurt, I am more than a little confused that our school board has seen fit to take a labor shortage issue and turn it into a dividing line in our community. Thank you.
Excuse me, I didn't get your name. Could you please?
My name is Rivka Gross, and my girls attend 236 Cherry Lane Girls School. My boys are in Central UPA as well.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
The obligation and the duty of the school board members headed by the superintendent is to fairly represent every single taxpayer in their district, whether they're sent to public or private schools. The discrepancy we have been seeing between the benefits and services received between public and private school students are horrifying, bordering on discriminatory. Public school 5-year-olds get bused to school at 8:50. Public school 10-year-olds get bused to school at 8 o'clock. Public school 15-year-olds get bused to school at 7:30. Our 5-year-olds, our 10-year-olds, our 15-year-olds are given one bus, one time per day. By supplying only one bus per building, this board is for all intents and purposes forcing our 5, our 10, and our 15-year-olds to all start school at the exact same time. Doesn't sound like they have the best interests of our children's education at my heart. I live in Earmont for more than a decade, and my taxes have consistently been going up, while my services have consistently been going down. I think it's time the board takes a serious look at the taxpayer dollars, where they're being spent, and ensure fair coverage for public and private school students alike. Thank you. My name?
Please.
Drazy Wertzberger, 50 Laura Drive, and I have children attending CUTA, girls and boys.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Lebovitz, and I'm wondering what there is. I see here it says here about a piggyback student transportation for an amount of $59,645, and I'm wondering what is that? Where does it go to? And my kids are struggling. I happen to work in the special education world, and I provide services for children that need help, and I'm here to help them on a daily basis. And how can I help them if my kids are not, if I can't be there on time for them on a daily basis? And there's always a ripple effect. If I am calm in the morning to know my kids receive busing on a proper time and they arrive to school calmly, happy, instead of being a nervous wreck, whether there is carpooling, whether there's a bus change, whether there is no service, leaving my kid hanging on the street. There is nothing. My kid is not arriving to school in any which way. I mean, my kid was left by the corner of the block. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's fair. And then it automatically ripple effects on my being able to provide kids with special needs. And I arrive to school, to work late, and then, should I say, my boss is annoyed, the kids are annoyed, they're not happy. It's all a ripple effect. I'm asking to please just, the school is ready to take care of the funding, and they could provide the services, the busing properly in an appropriate time and have the normal funding. If the board just takes it seriously and gives it to them so my kids could arrive to school happy and calm instead of having, should I say, chaos, and then it ends up going on to the other children around in my work environment as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jutta Eisenberger. I live on 39 Cherry Lane. My girls go to Buffalo Girls School. What I just want to say is that I moved to Earmont. I moved to this district. It's a nice place. I wanted to give my kids a nice place to grow up, a nice big backyard. And what I'm having with the buses is really counter-affecting what I wanted to create for them. That calm serenity that we get here for living in such a district. Now, my girls, again, just like everybody, we don't know, is the bus showing, is the bus not showing? If the bus doesn't show, I need to call a car service for them, which we need to wait, doesn't come, they get to school late, the principal's annoyed, they're tense, I'm tense, I work together with my husband, we come late to work, which, you know, as a parent, anybody knows this is very stressful for everybody. So what I'm asking, and also home, my kids don't have a bus because the district gives them a bus at 3:30. My kids come home at 4:30 and 5. So we don't have a bus the way home. I need to pay for transportation. So what I'm asking is if you can please take my taxes, take the money, give it to my school directly, which they have a bus company, and then we could all have buses and arrive to school on time and create a nice place for our kids to grow up in a beautiful, happy world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jacob Grunblatt. First, I want to start off. Of course, you guys are comfortable up front, one next to each other. Over here, even pushed around 6 feet apart. I think it's not nice when people are suffering and frustrated what's going on in this district. Number one, I want to start. Who has the privilege of these buses? If it's not us, who has it? It's driving around in AMI buses every day, empty and full. But the empty ones come at what time? When everybody was already pushing their kids into what's it called? The cars with people carpooling all day. It's ridiculous. I stand at a bus stop. It's Friday afternoon. We wait. We get ready for the Sabbath. We cook. We clean. It's an example, but this happens each and every day. An example. At 12:50, I get a phone call from my son. We did get an email. The school said that the bus was going to show up, but it didn't show up. It's every day, in and out, in and out. You guys know all about it. I think everybody summed it up all about it. It's time to find out what is really going on here. Somebody's got to speak up. All the emails said, oh, we do all we can. And stop with this nonsense. It's a shortage. It's not a shortage. You guys failed us before. You guys failed us after. You keep on failing us. Answering dumb emails. Stop doing the blah, blah stuff. Enough. Enough. People need to have answers and people need transportation. I go to work early morning every day. I don't need to get, oh, the bus didn't show up, didn't come, didn't email from the school. Kids left in the school. Who's taking responsibility here? Any of you? Nobody's taking responsibility. What's going on here? Little kids are sitting in a school and waiting for a bus. And something has to change already. Enough. Guys, enough. I think you've heard it. Enough. How many more parents? And the funny part is only Jewish mothers standing at this podium. You seen any Gentiles here tonight staying at this podium saying problems with the buses? Are they getting buses? Has any kid been left behind here? And let's not talk about Suffern Central. You guys have 26 days off of busing. 26 days when East Ramapo was 14 days off. They have a tracking system. Oh, we don't have a tracking system. We have to stand in the corner in the cold and the rain every day. Every day we have to stay in the cold and in the rain or whatever it is and see if a bus will ever show up. And most of the time they don't. What happens? You have to get the little babies standing with the newborn. My wife with the newborn. When I'm not there, I wish I could be there to help. I have to work to feed my family. Standing with a newborn and have to run back to the bus, take the kids, then they get to school late. What happens to the report card? I think all of you want to have a perfect report card. And then the days that we don't get, the 26 days that we don't get, I'm sure Superintendent's Day is an important day. But I think we can get a bus on Superintendent's Day. I love you guys having Superintendent's Days and stuff like that. And I don't get off, and I don't think any of you get off a week that Christmas is coming and New Year's coming. New Year and Christmas, we understand the days that is off. We take it. But the days that we do deserve it, it's time to get it. It's time to get it. Enough frustration. I think all of you should take a stand and say tomorrow, let's deal with this issue once and for all. You see this over and over, year after year. It didn't start before the pandemic, and it did not start now with the shortage. We do understand the shortage problem, but this is out of hand. I believe this public school kids have a pickup every day and get dropped off every day. No public school kids are being picked up by fathers and mothers because they get a phone call from their little kids saying, oh, we're left in school again. Thank you, and I do want to wish all of you for all the rest of the things you do for the kids. It's amazing what you do. It was a hard year, tough year on everybody. Everybody's frustrated in some levels, but I wish well on your families. I wish all of us should be safe, be blessed, and be healthy, and we should definitely move forward. We're not here to look backward. We want to look for a solution for forward. So please help us, and let's get this done once and for all. Thank you. Good night. One very important thing, this is not an attack on the drivers. The drivers are awesome, amazing people. My driver especially, the greeting and the smile he gives to their kids in the morning, it should be noted, and everybody should appreciate them for whatever they do for when they show up. It's nothing to do with the drivers. It's an accompanying company or somebody in here in this department is doing this purposely, or this is an agenda. Nothing with the drivers. So please thank them each and every day for when they do show up, because they do really try hard to be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hi. My name is Pearl Kahan. I'm a mother of two very young students within the Suffern Central School District. My daughter is 8, she's in Kesser Beis Yaakov, and my son is 5, and he's in Sands Klosenberg. Both of them are suffering with emotional stress because of their schooling. Their schooling is being disrupted by their constant transportation problems. I'd like to stress that the issue with my daughter's transportation is not directly due to the larger problem of the lack of drivers. Her school moved to a new location and had issues with Suffern Central in regard to approval of their new location. Despite this location is in the same complex of another school that is already receiving Suffern Central transportation, and the school is doing their part in providing everything that the school district needed, the documents or whatever. It's been over 8 weeks into the school year, and not only does she not have transportation we so desperately need, but I haven't received any communication from the office to assume any progress is being made. There's apparently only one person in the office, Rena Gessner, who is capable of making this happen. She was away for a while. I've tried countless times to reach her to no avail. Every time I try to communicate with the office, I get disheartened by the very unhelpful and to the point of being nasty staff. And when I finally did receive a single email today that gave me a shred of hope, it was apparently a mass-generated fluff email with empty platitudes. I'd like to know why even such simple process needs to be a bureaucratic nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Pecker. I live in Montebello, New York. I have 5 beautiful children, and I'm having issues with 3 of my sons that attend Yeshivas Degel HaTorah. Is there a reason why my 5-year-old needs to wait every single blessed day between 40 to 50 minutes for his bus? Every morning, Mommy, is the bus coming? What's going on? He's having massive anxiety. He comes to school late every single day, missing lots of the learning. My older boys, they start school at 7:40 a.m. Their bus comes at 6:30. It's not rush hour. I live literally 10 minutes away from school. But what is Suffern Central doing? They are picking up my kids and they're combining the route with another school. Why are they combining this route with another school? The public schools don't have combined routes. My 5-year-old, he's on the bus with the girls' school. The first day, I was paranoid. There were 2 schools on the bus. I asked him, I said, Leo, do you know where your school is? How do you know where to get off? Mommy, I'm going to see a playground. Seriously, he's going to see a playground, so he's going to get off at the girls' school. He has no clue where to get off. Why are we combining bus routes every single day? I need to leave, besides her coming to work late every single morning, I need to leave work early every day. Why? Because Leo doesn't have a bus home. Because there's one bus. That means there's one bus picking up the kids from grades kindergarten through 8th grade. Does that make sense that my 5-year-old is dismissed at almost 5 o'clock? No. He has to sit around in school every day? No, that doesn't make sense. But Suffern Central School District says we have 1 pickup per school. You don't do that in the public schools. You're divided. I called up the public schools. K through 5th grade, there's 1 dismissal. 5th grade through 8th grade, there's another dismissal. Every day I pick up my child, every single kid in the class gets a bus from East Ramapo, but there are 2 or 3 students from Suffern Central that their parents have to pick them up. I'm going to get fired at work. This doesn't make sense. You guys need to figure it out. Enough. Enough is enough. I live on Diamond Court. My bus stop is on Emerald and Golden. Why don't I have a bus stop on my block? Is there a reason why I need to take my 4 kids at an early hour and run down the block? The excuse is, oh, I live in a dead end. It's not a 100-foot radius circle. Excuse me? I've measured the circles, the cul-de-sacs in my neighborhood, none of them are a 100-foot radius circle. Everyone in the neighborhood, they don't have a stop at the corner of their block. They have a house stop. Is it because I'm Jewish? Seriously? Does that make sense? There is a sign on my block that says no parking between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. between school hours. The garbage truck could come down my block, the ambulance, the fire truck. Oh, but the suffering little truck can't come up my block. And I'm not asking for a house stop. I just want a stop at the corner that I don't have to take my whole family down the block. Can you imagine? My daughter's bus comes at 8:30. My son's bus is supposed to come at 8:50. So at 8:15, my whole family has to run down the block and we're waiting another 50 minutes. That doesn't make sense. Figure it out. Get your act together. Thank you.
Thank you. Other speakers? No? Anybody else? Okay. Thank you all for your comments tonight, and we will close this portion of the meeting. Closing superintendent comments?
Sure, thank you so much. I would like to share with the Board of Education that the Assistant Superintendent for Business and I had a meeting with our security subcontractors. One of the topics did have to do with transportation. Specifically, we've seen a massive uptick in parents who are driving their children to school, to the high school. And as a result, there are some dangerous situations that we believe need to be analyzed in the front of the high school. Crossovers, similar to some of the complaints that we've heard here this evening, parents frustrated with late bus pickups, getting their students to school in a timely fashion. They feel like they have to drive them themselves. And as a result, parents are trying to get to work and are not always as safe as they should be in the parking lot. So we are committed to reaching out to the Ramapo Police Department, along with our security company, our building administrators, and potentially our architect to take a look at some short-term and long-term strategies on how we can make the situation at the high school better. I would like to address some of the transportation concerns that were brought to our attention this evening. I know that you're saying that you're frustrated by the statements that we are working on it, but I will say that we are working on it. This is a massive undertaking. We have 4,000, a little bit over 4,000 public school students who attend 7 schools. And that is a large undertaking for transportation, certainly going to 7 schools. We have another 1,300 students who are going to 143 different schools. The logistics are massive, massive. And I understand the frustration that bus routes are merged, bus routes are delayed, different age levels of students on those buses. When you're talking about the driver shortage, that is not just here at Suffern Central, but regionally and nationally, it's a struggle. We are doing what we can, and I understand that it's not meeting your expectations. It's not meeting our expectations. We are working actively. We just passed along another list that we received from the state government today about individuals who have CDL certifications. We passed that along to Chestnut Ridge so that they can actively go out and recruit those drivers. We are working on logistics. Some of the changes that are taking place as soon as tomorrow morning involve merging of bus routes, larger buses for some routes, smaller bus routes for others, because of course we always have an influx of students at the beginning of the school year, so those routes change as well. And thirdly, we are working on our communications. The letter that went out today was not a fluff letter. It indicates how we are communicating between Chestnut Ridge and the non-public schools when there are delays. I am not saying that the people that brought to our attention today that there are communication issues are not truthful. You're absolutely right. Communication breakdowns are the #1 complaint that we are getting, and we're working towards improving that. We have short-term solutions that we hope to resolve and long-term solutions that we hope to present at a later date, because that is going to take a larger effort of time, money, and resources. So I just wanted to address those comments because I believe that they're pertinent here, and tell you that we are committed to making this situation
better. No, thank you for addressing that. Absolutely. Is that everything? Is it? Oh, okay. Maybe you turn the mic off. You must be done. Okay. So that will conclude our meeting tonight. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Our next board meeting will be in 2 weeks, on November 5th. 7th? The 2nd? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 5th. We met on October 5th. Maybe that's why. November 2nd. My apologies. Election day after Halloween. So everybody have an enjoyable next few weeks. Enjoyable Halloween for those of you that are partaking in Halloween and whatever you do for Halloween. Some people like it more than others. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Is that Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Second?
Yes.
Second. Ms. Dickman? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned. We will see you in 2 weeks.